Good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is audible to all of you and I'm visible as well. May I get a quick confirmation in the chat box? Am I audible and visible? That is great. Okay. Welcome you guys to the Advanced Audit and Assurance Orientation for June 2026. So, if you guys are here, I'm sure you have made a realistic choice to give audit as your optional paper, right? So, it's very important for us to understand that what are the challenges of this paper, what exactly this paper is all about, and what should be our strategy going forward to make sure that we pass this paper in the June attempt. So before I begin, I just want to know how many of you are giving this paper for the first time? Like this is your first attempt. Because I have seen a lot of people repeating also. So yes, I want to know. Okay, we have a lot of people here. Great, great. So even if you are a first attempter or a resitter, it does not matter. This session is very relevant to you, okay? And what we need to understand about audit is that why are we studying this paper? Why audit is a thing in corporate, in business life, and why is it part of ACCA? See, what do you mean by audit? Let's understand it with a very realistic example. That when I was sitting for my exams, okay, board exams, the main papers that we have as teenagers. So before that, we used to have someone known as external examiner in your practical exams. So basically, someone outside from the school used to come and ask questions, used to conduct viva and ask questions related to something that I've studied in my school. So basically, what was that person doing? That person was checking whether the quality of education that I've received is good or not, whether I'm ready for the board exam or not. So basically, he was reviewing the quality of education I got from that school. He was ensuring the quality of education. He was an external reviewer. Yes. So that is a kind of process that which happens in audit as well. Because audit is that, okay, a company has already made their financial statements, and now in the process of audit, we are just reviewing whether the financial statements that have been prepared are true and fair or not. But if accountants of XYZ company have already prepared the financial statements, why in the world someone else should validate them, should check them, should review them? Why can't we trust the accountants? Why are the accountants not trustworthy? That is because of agency theory. These are like heavy words that I'm using, but I'm just trying to explain you, casually, that when you are investing into a company, you become the shareholder of the company, right? And when you become the shareholder, of course, you are interested in the profits of that company, the balance sheet of that company. But who is running the company? The directors. And these directors, they have the control of the company, not the ownership. But you have the ownership. So the person who controls the company and the person who owns the company are two different people. So the person who owns, they do not trust the person who controls the company. Therefore, the owners, they are insecure. In other words, they are doubtful that these directors, these controllers are doing something bad. They have our money, we have given them money, investment funds, but these people might be misusing them. So you guys have watched Shark Tank? Do you guys watch Shark Tank? Do you see people investing in businesses? The entrepreneurs? Yes. So when they put money into a business, Imagine they give so much funds into the business and we don't know what is happening with that money. The sharks don't know what is happening with their money. They have put money into a business, a startup. The founder is a different person, an investor is a different person, that is the shark. And now they are just, maybe 6 months, 1 year down the line, they will have a doubt on their numbers. So the founder might say, we made a loss, so I can't give you share of, your dividend. I can't give you your dividend. So this is a problem in the real world, that there could be manipulations because the founder, the owner is different, the director is different. Now this director can manipulate the accounts and say, oh, we don't have money to give you, we don't have money to pay dividends to you. We will make sure that maybe next year we can give you some money. So this way you are losing your investment, right? And this director can play with the share price also. That also brings loss to you. So you are very critical as an investor. You're very critical whether the company is saying the truth or are they lying, which is why you use this superpower of yours that is known as audit. So basically what happens, all the owners together, the shareholders together, they appoint one single superman who's basically going to go and invest his time to check the financial statements, that whether they are true and fair or not. He's going to check that, okay, the financial statements have misstatements, like is there any mistake, error, is there any fraud going on, is the director lying, is there any problem with the internal controls of the company, and all of this, the whole process where an external reviewer comes into the business and does the whole checking and the review is known as audit, right? So this is what we mean by audit. So of course, this is like a very informal explanation of audit just for the sake of introduction of the subject. So what we learn in AAA is why we conduct audit, how we conduct audit, what are the procedures and the standards related to audit, because this person who's going for the audit has a lot of responsibilities on his shoulder, because there is a set of owners who are putting their money on the basis of the report which the auditor is issuing. So auditor is having an ultimate level of liability, right? The people are investing money on the basis of what auditor is saying. So clearly, yes, there is a lot of liability. So there should be some standardized process according to which the audit is conducted. This is what I learned in advanced audit and assurance, right? So before I begin formally with the orientation, I need to know few things. Have you guys given AA yes or no in the chat box? Have you guys given AA audit insurance F8 paper? Okay. Most of you have, 2-3 people have not exempted. Okay, I understand. No problem. See, for exempted students in the course, there is a section that I've placed which talks about knowledge from AA, basic classes from AA. So you must check that out. Okay. So even if you're exempted, the course is relevant to you. You can still pass AAA. The only provision is that you study the classes that I've given to you, because yes, AAA requires some assumed knowledge from AA. I won't lie on that okay, there's no need that you should have given AA. You should have given AA, but since you have not, I've covered that portion in my course. Okay, so no problem, we can manage it. Now, second question, have you guys passed SBR? Or have you given SBR at least? Not passed, but have you studied SBR? Almost everyone. Okay. First P level. So are you studying SBR along with AAA then, Krishiv? Are you studying SBR along with AAA? Then why are you giving AAA as your first paper in professional level? That's not recommended. Please go for SBR. Without studying SBR, don't sit for AAA. Okay? Don't sit for AAA if you have not studied SBR. That's great, Surbhi. So let's understand. You guys are here from, maybe you've studied SBR from me or seen my videos. So why SBR is linked with AAA? I won't say that AA is so much linked to AAA as much SBR is linked to AAA. This is a controversial statement, but yes, that's true. Because SBR is all about IFRS and audit is all about whether the IFRS were rightly applied or not. You understand it? So basically, if I'm checking your assignment, I am an auditor of your assignment. If I don't know what you have written in your assignment, if I am not an expert of what you have written in your assignment, I am not the right person to check your assignment. So similarly, if I'm not an expert in IFRS, I am not the right person to check whether the IFRS have been rightly applied or not. Are you getting my point? So in audit, what you do is you check whether the financial statements are true and fair or not. So basically, if you don't know IFRS, how will you know whether the financial statements are true and fair or not? Logical, no? So that's why SBR and AAA are super linked. And I started teaching AAA because I was already teaching SBR. And a fun fact, I started teaching SBR because I was interested in IFRS when I was doing AAA. So can you see the correlation? This is what I've realized in my professional journey as well. Now, when I was studying AAA, that's when I studied IFRS seriously. Because honestly, when I gave SBR myself, I was okay about IFRS. Like I was a very easy goer. I studied for SBR like in the last few days and passed it. But when I studied AAA, that's when I gave my serious energy to IFRS. And that's when I started liking them. So you can understand how much SBR is linked to AAA. Okay. So let's get into the orientation now. I'll just share my screen with you. So what I'm going to discuss, I am going to discuss everything about audit, how, why we are studying audit, what is the format of the paper, skills required to pass AAA, how the course at TG Professionals work, and what resources we shall use for AAA. Okay. And also the study plan, of course. Now, all about audit, the information. What do you mean by audit and assurance? So I've already told you, this is a process in which the auditor reviews the financial statements and gives an audit report on whether the financial statements made by the company are true and fair or not. So what is the chronology of audit process? What do we studied in audit? So you need to understand what real life audit looks like. So first of all, why we need audit? We need audit because of agency theory, where the owners of a company do not trust the controllers of the company. That's basically the directors of the company, where the owners, they do not trust the directors. That's why I need audit and assurance. Now, what happens in the process of audit? What happens in the process of audit? If you will understand the process, you will understand the whole syllabus of AAA. So basically, first of all, we send a tender. We means audit, auditor. Auditor sends a tender to the company which they want to propose that we can conduct an audit. So I'm an auditor or audit firm. I will send a tender document. Tender is just like a proposal. So just like in your life, you propose your prospective partners. Similarly, you propose to a company that, dude, I can do audit for you. I can conduct audit for your company. Why do you need audit? Because now you are a listed company and you follow IFRS. So you basically propose to them. You propose the company that I can conduct audit for you, right? It's a marketing tactic. Second thing is, once you put the tender gets approved. Now the company says, yes, we are ready to hire you. So before that, you consider whether you should accept the client or not. Because, come on, you are auditor. You might say, ma'am, if we have put the tender, why would we not accept the client? You're right. But before sending the tender, and even once the tender is approved, I need to understand that am I the right fit for that client or not? I will not just simply accept the client because the client is paying me, because that is going to get me money. No, I am not at all supposed to be I'm not at all supposed to be the person who's greedy, who wants to just get a client or just have a self interest. So before accepting the client, I have to understand, am I the right fit? I'm being very informal here, okay? These are not the words that we use in AAA paper, but just because, I'm teaching in a friendly way right now, we're not doing the whole technical analysis of AAA, but just understanding it as an introduction. So that's why I'm using such unprofessional words. So acceptance of the client, we just understand, am I the right fit for the client or not? We also do KYC of the client. Is client the right person or not? Is he involved in money laundering, criminal activities? I don't want to put on pressure on me by getting involved in money laundering, which a client is doing, and I just become their auditor. If they are doing some criminal activity, I'll indirectly get involved in it. So I don't want to take any risk, right? So I do KYC. Once the acceptance procedures are done, then finally I decide whether I'm going forward with this client or not. Now, what I do is I sign an engagement letter with them. Engagement letter is basically where you finally decide, okay, let's get engaged with the client. Okay. So you now sign a contract that, yes, we are ready for this audit process. Let's go forward and let's do the audit of this company. So you set the terms and conditions here that, okay, what will be the timeline of the audit? What will be the fee that I receive? What will be the deliverables of the audit? By what time, the audit will be completed? What kind of audit report will be issued? Who will be the users of the audit report? All these things are accepted and devised in the engagement letter. Once the engagement letter is signed, now the audit process starts. Before the audit process starts, guys, we need to understand that as an auditor, there's a lot of liability on my shoulders, as I said. So I am supposed to maintain ethics at all scenarios. So let us understand, what do you mean ethics? Okay. So ethics basically means, just like you did in AAA, just like you did in AA, sorry, you did in SBR, your professional competence, your integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, your professional behavior, all these things are ethics. So as an auditor, ethics becomes even more important because, see, if the client is doing something wrong, I'll just give you a very informal example. So when I was in my school, as I said, there was an external reviewer, the person who was taking the practical exam. Now, some people, yes, I've stopped the screen sharing because I want to talk to you. So some people, they used to have informal meetings with the external examiner. They would take him to the canteen, offer him good food, and the teachers used to have good making a good acquaintance so that he gave good marks to the school students, so that the school could have a topper. You're understanding my point? So what was happening there? There was a reality threat because then external person came into the school to review the performance of the school. Now school wants a good result so that school can say, we are such a good people, we are having good reputation, you should give us a good remark on the report. So school people used to you can say provide him with gifts and hospitality. That's a natural thing to do. We are in a real world, right? So in ethics, the person who is coming for the review, he has to maintain his ethics. People will try to dilute his ethics because of their own self-interest. Correct? So similarly, in the audit process, the auditor is going to check whether the financial statements of the company are true or fair or not. Now, the company, if it has done any manipulation, it would not want that the auditor, it tries to bring that fraud in front of the owners. So they will try to stop him at all costs. They will try to give him gifts, try to give him some financial benefits. Maybe some auditors are gifted luxurious cars. They're gifted some in bigger companies so that the auditor, they team up with the company and they commit the fraud. So in such a situation, it's like a life of a politician, okay? In such a situation, the auditor has to maintain his ethics at every stage, acceptance stage, planning stage, the work, when you perform the work, that stage, then the reporting stage. At every stage, the auditor is very much liable to maintain his ethics. If he misses any ethic, he can be sued, because that would be that would bring some kind of auditor's liability, which we will study when we do ethics. So ethics is a very important part. It was not that important in SBR as much it is important in AAA, right? So that's what we have. The next part of audit, ethics, it's omnipresent in every process of audit, in every stage of audit. The auditor needs to maintain his ethics. So we will study a lot of things where ethics are compromised. We will study about principles of ethics, okay? Then we are going to study about the ethical threats, and then we will study how the auditor can overcome those ethical threats. So that's forming a very important part in AAA. Okay. Then the next thing, apart from that, what I have is tender, acceptance of client, engagement, ethics. Finally, once I onboard the client, I need to start planning the audit process. So I have started the audit of a company. First thing, for example, today we are meeting, we are planning how we will make sure that we pass our paper in June. We are having a study plan ahead of our preparation. So similarly, once the audit process starts or before the audit process starts, we need to plan the audit, which will be the risky areas, what kind of response I would give to the risky areas of financial statements, what kind of work I will perform on financial statements, who will do what work. So assignment of duties within the audit team. So there is not one auditor, there is a team of auditors who audit one company. So delegation of duties, right? Assessment of risky areas, understanding of the client, all of that happens in the planning stage of audit. That's a different topic in AAA. Here we assess audit risk. And in your exam, approximately 30 marks of your paper is made up of audit risk. So this planning stage is very important. Then, after planning, what happens? You finally start with your work. So you start with your procedures. Procedures means, okay, I know that this is the risky area of the financial statements. So let's suppose I decided that IFRS 9 is a risky area of financial statements because this company is doing a lot of hedging. So I decide that hedging is a risky area, very risky area. So what kind of work should I do? How should I ensure that whatever accounting treatment that they have done under IFRS 9 is correct or not? I will do certain procedures. I will do certain work. So that is the procedure stage of audit. Then once the procedures are conducted, once I have worked on that area, on those identified areas, then I am supposed to collect evidence of the work that I've performed. Because if by God's like unfortunate event, in future the auditor is sued that you didn't perform the work rightly, the quality of your work was not good, the auditor should have an evidence that I did the work at the right time. I was really good at my audit work. I have not left any stone unturned in the quality of my work. So evidence is a very important thing for the auditor to collect. So he's going to collect evidence of the work that he has performed, not the evidence of that the things are right, but the evidence of that, yes, I have performed this work. So whatever procedure he conducts, for that he collects audit evidence. Now, once the evidence is collected, next thing is review stage of audit. So once you have done the work, that whether the financial statements are true and fair or not, you have worked on material misstatements, you've tried to figure out which are the material misstatements, and you've done certain procedures on them, collected the evidence that is sufficient and appropriate, you now review your own work. That maybe something is still left. It's just like you have completed the paper and then you revise your paper. You're not so sure about it. You always make a last time revision if time allows. Similarly, the auditor reviews his work. And once he reviews his work, then he finally prepares the audit report. So report is addressed to the stakeholders, to the shareholders, the people who are trusting the financial statements. So we address that report to them, that whether the statements are true and fair or not. So there is a proper format or procedure how you issue an audit report. What kind of opinion you give. If you find mistake, if you find very big mistake, or if you find no mistake at all. So what kind of opinions do you give? That is the reporting phase of audit. So this is how the whole process of audit works. And that is more or less your syllabus area. So we start our syllabus with the ethics. These I cover in small theoretical areas because these are very small theory areas. Then we have audit risk. That's one of the very important area, a unit in AAA. Then we have procedure and evidence area. Then we have review and reporting area. So you can say you have units of your AAA syllabus. Correct? So this is the process of audit in general, and this is also the syllabus of AAA. Then we have few other areas like other assignments, something apart from audit, because your paper is audit and assurance. So something related to assurance. There are other assignments. Not just audit, but assignments like due diligence, where we are not doing the audit, but we are actually seeing due diligence is basically if I want to buy a company. So before I buy a company, I will hire a team of professionals who will go and check whether that company is true and fair or not. Whether what kind of financial statements they are preparing, the claims that they are making are true or not. And what valuation should I give to that company before I buy it? So that is not audit, that is assurance. So we learn about it in our syllabus. So now we finally understand what the audit process looks like. And this whole process happens just so that we can have an audit report in our hands. So the objective of audit is report, audit report. So now you all know, since you said you've given SBR, so you know that we also prepare sustainable reports. In SBR, you've heard about sustainable reporting, where we just don't report numbers, but qualitative things as well. So we need audit of sustainable reports as well. So in AAA, we cover that also. Right? Okay. So now let's look into the forum paper. Let's look into one of the past papers that I have. Let's check it out. Yeah. See, section A, this is a AAA past paper. from September, December 2025. So very recent one. Section A was worth 50 marks, 50. So first question is for 50 marks. The requirements are for 50 marks. And out of that, 10 marks are professional marks. So in SBR, 4 marks were professional. But here it is 10 marks. And why you are getting these marks? For your skill in communication. Of course, there will be no debate or declamation in the paper, but communication through what you write, what you type. So very important that you use professional words. Analysis. Analysis means the information that is being given. Have you made correct interpretation out of it? Have you made a holistic analysis? Have you calculated numbers, trends, ratios, evaluation? Do you have the correct judgment? Like evaluation means interpreting the numbers plus giving a conclusion. It's good or bad. Evaluating it, giving a conclusion, coming to a conclusion. Professional skepticism. What is skepticism? When you have a questioning mind. So, for example, in the case study, there was something related to fraud. The management was doing a fraud. That was not clearly given in the question, but there was a hint to it. Did you pick that hint? Were you skeptical? Were you like an investigator, working like an investigator? Your judgment, for example, life of an intangible asset. It's based on judgment. So similarly, auditor also applies judgment in a lot of areas. So are you applying the judgment correctly? Commercial acumen. Commercial acumen is cost benefit analysis. Sometimes something is very, immaterial. So you shouldn't spend so much time on it. But something which is very material, are you, using your cost benefit analysis there? Are you spending much time there as an auditor? So all these, you can say professional marks or professional skills are giving you 10 professional marks in the first question. So in AAA, you have 20 professional marks. So question number 1 is 50 marks. And if you see the requirements of this question, you will be surprised. Let me show you. The first requirement, it talks about business risk. So business risk basically comes from what we call as SBL, Strategic Business Leader. Have you guys given SBL yet? Anyone who has given SBL yet? No. Okay. So that's totally fine. But you still understand that AAA will also help you in SBL somehow, up to the extent of 8 marks. Okay. So business risk is where you think like a CEO, you think like a CFO, that what risk my business is facing. Now you might question me, ma'am, why as an auditor we should consider business risk? Because as an auditor, if you will not get into the shoes of the management, how will you understand their thinking? How will you question their thinking? How will you understand what kind of fraud they can do, what intentions they might have, what motivation they might have? If you will understand their risk, then only you can understand their way of making the financial statements, why they are overstating the profit. Because maybe they have a debt covenant. If they will not overstate the profit, they will breach the debt covenant. So that's their motivation to overstate the profit. That's a business risk. So if you will not understand their environment, how will you understand their audit risks? So business risk is a very important topic where you think like a CEO. Then significant risk of material misstatement in the planning of the audit. So business risk and ROMM both are coming from the planning stage of audit. So 18 plus 8 marks from planning of audit. Here you have to find risk of material misstatement in the financial statements. So this is basically your IFRS, which will come into the picture. Here, your IFRS comes into the picture. That's why SBR is important. Then design principal audit procedures, the procedure part of your audit, for 6 marks. So audit procedures for intangible assets. So if you will not know IS 38, you will not be able to make procedures. Again, SBR. Then using Exhibit 5, discuss the ethical and professional issues. I just told you that at all stages of audit, ethics are very important. So this is how the question number 1 is made of. Just by knowing what is there in AAA, you are feeling a little familiar to the requirements already. Just when I explained you the process of audit, are you feeling familiar with the requirements? Can you correlate that these requirements are from which part of the syllabus? First requirement from business risk, planning part of the audit. Second requirement, audit risk, planning part of the audit. Third requirement, procedures part of the, which I discussed with you, of audit. Fourth requirement, ethics, right? So you are becoming little familiar to. So that's how AAA syllabus is very easy. What's difficult is the application. That's what we learn throughout our course. Next. So that was for 50 marks. Section B has already started. Question number 2. 25 marks. So in AAA, you only have 3 questions, right? So this is question number 2. Again, ethics. But this time, prior to tendering of due diligence assignment. I just explain you what tender is and what due diligence is. So ethics related to tendering. So as I said, ethics are there in every stage of audit. So ethics related to tender. When you put the tender, you should not unnecessarily market, lie to the client, and tender to such a client which is not good for you. That's your ethic, right? So that's for 10 marks, huge marks. Then discuss why part of the due diligence investigation would focus on the warranty obligation. So this one is related to other assignments, as I said. Then recommend due diligence procedures. Just like you have audit procedures, similarly, you have due diligence procedures. So that's question number 2, related to other assignment. Question number 3, last question. Again, 25 marks. Explain the purpose and content of key audit matter section of audit report. So which part of your audit process is this question related to? When I was making the list of process of audit, when I talk about key audit matters of audit report, which part of audit is it related to? Very good. It's related to review and reporting, right? So I gave you a proper section. This one, last section, 9th, it's the reporting section. Then for each of the matters included in the report, to TCWG, that is those charged with governance, justify whether the matter should be included in CAM. So this is again related to reporting. Then, where appropriate, briefly describe the specific features of the disclosure. Okay. Now that one is related to some kind of, you can say exhibit 1. So maybe it's related to financial statements. So IFRS related question. Then evaluate the professional and ethical matters which should be considered by Reeves and Co. regarding the finance director request. Again, ethics are here. Can you see ethics are there in all the questions? Question number 1. So in this, it was for 7 marks. Question number 2, it was for ethics are there for 10 marks. Okay. So 10 marks for ethics. And in question number 1, they are there for 8 marks. So 10 plus 7 plus 8. So you can understand that is basically 25 marks. 25 marks of ethics only. Do you understand how important this part of your syllabus is? Right? So what are the most important parts? If I would say ABC analysis, what you kind of believe into, I would say every part is important, but the part which carries most of the marks, number one, I would say planning part. Okay. Number two, ethics. Number three, these two combined. This plus other assignments would be the last one. So what is the chronology? First, second, third, fourth. This is how the importance of the syllabus areas are. These are small theory areas. Just like that, we'll cover them casually. Do we understand this whole setup of AAA? What is more important? What are the subunits of AAA? What is the syllabus of AAA? What are we studying in AAA? And I believe you should feel by far, as you understand the topics, that the paper is doable. How many of you are feeling that a paper is doable? I am feeling it already. But let me give you the reality check. I know it is feeling to be doable, not such a difficult paper, but then why so many people are failing in AAA? Have you heard stories of AAA failures where people end up getting 49? There is a student who gets 60, and then there's a student who gets 51, and then there's a student who gets 49. What is the difference between the two? I totally understand the difference between this one and this one. But what about this and this? Was luck playing a factor here? No. When the examiner gives 49 marks to any students, he purposely is giving that mark. This is purposely. Let me tell you very clearly, insider information. When you get 49, you're just half mark away from a 50. And any examiner, when I say you have 20 professional marks in AAA, any examiner can use his intention, his purpose to give you a pass. But when he stops you from passing, there is a reason. There's always a reason. And your paper goes to like multiple examiners if you are failing at 49. Because ACCA doesn't want to do any unfairness or injustice to you. So why people end up getting 49, and I've seen people who are like very good academically, toppers throughout, they end up getting 49 in AAA. So why this happens? When you were doing the paper with me right now, you felt it is doable. Most of the people feel the same. They start taking this paper for granted. When they're doing the syllabus of AAA, I am telling you already, syllabus is super easy, but a walk. It's theory, no? You are understanding it, you're going through it, you're feeling okay, you're feeling, it's good, it's a good time. You start taking it as for granted. You start thinking that, oh, I remember this, I remember that, it is easy. And when you finally start with the practice, you still feel overwhelmed, but okay, because you are doing topic-wise practice. When you start with your kid, you're doing topic-wise practice, right? And in that topic-wise practice, the things feel right. But when you sit for the paper, especially when you solve question number 1, where the case study has so much of information, you want to see what kind of information we have? We have background information. Huge exhibit 1. Then we have exhibit 2, huge. Exhibit 3, huge. Exhibit 4, again huge. Exhibit 5, so much of information. And there is no such thing that first requirement is from exhibit 1 and requirement B is from exhibit 2. Like in SBR, that used to be the case. In AAA, to answer the first requirement, I will have to read till Exhibit 5. It's a very application-based challenge. It's not syllabus-based. It's like I have to read the full question. I have to read full question and then start answering. Then I can start answering, right? Not even that I will think about answers. I have to start answering only once I'm done with the reading of the full question. So by the time I'm reading the full question, I'm finding answers to 5 requirements, 5 different requirements. In one requirement, I am a CEO. In the second requirement, I'm an auditor. In the third requirement, I'm thinking about procedures. In the fourth requirement, I'm thinking about ethics. Oh my God. And when I'm thinking about all these things, I'm reading the information. I can't read the information again and again. I have to read it once, and in that one reading, I have to identify 5 different requirements and make answer once I complete the reading. That is the main challenge of the paper. So if you think that audit syllabus is the challenge, you're going to lose your attempt. The challenge is question practice, application skills, managing overwhelming information, and time management. Most of the people fail AAA because of time management. So all these problems, they come to one solution, that is practice, practice, practice. If you fail to practice, you are going to fail the paper. I'm being very brutally honest. And this practice has to be typed practice and a combination of understanding the video debriefs. If you're a self-study student, then understanding the answers at the back of the kit. You can't just practice with a paused mind or cluttered mind. You have to do it honestly, where you honestly sit down and practice the case studies, type them out in a timed environment, and you give assignments. So in my previous quarters of teaching AAA, based on the feedback that I got from my students, I've understood and improvised on few things this time. So of course, the recordings of the syllabus are there, notes are there. These are the dates on which you will do various topics of AAA. And then in the live class on Sunday, we are going to meet and do practice and your doubts, of course. And generally, like we have in SBR also, your doubts will also be clarified on the WhatsApp group 24/7. But what change I've made is, what I used to do was that once you completed ethics and money laundering, I used to take your assignment. Then once you used to complete your these areas, then an assignment, then an assignment, 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 unit-wise assignment. This time, I have decided that you are getting done with your syllabus on 19th of April as per this plan. And I will start your assignments after that. Because a lot of people, they start late or they fall off the track or, they don't feel ready for the questions yet. So they skip the assignments. They don't give the assignments at all. And that's very hazardous because SBR, you skip the assignment, still okay. AAA, you skip the assignment, you will fall into the track of all the challenges. So what is more important in AAA is practice and time management. And that can only happen via assignments. So assignments are very, very important. And feedback on assignments is equally important. So this time I've decided that the feedback is going to be given to all assignments after 19th of April. So you're going to have a unit-wise assignment, but after you complete the syllabus. So I will not just ask you random question from ethics. I will give you exam standard question, because when I was taking assignment unit-wise, I could only give you part of questions. So since you're just done with ethics, I can only ask you ethics. I can't give you the overwhelming case study where you are supposed to solve a 50 marker. Here, once you're done with the syllabus, I can actually give you 2 to 3 50 marker questions. So that would be just like half mock. Okay. So there will be 6 plus assignments where you'll have 2 to 3 questions related to first question, 50 marker question. Then you will have questions on question number 2, assignment on question number 2, question number 3. So this way I can ask you exam standard questions in the assignment rather than picking up topic wise requirements, because that will make you feel easy. Because if I give you topic wise requirement, just an 8 marker related to ethics, you will feel ethics are very easy. But the main challenge of AAA, as I said, lies in overwhelming information. So I want to take full assignment, full question. I want to give you a full question that is exam standard. That's why the assignments will happen post syllabus completion. So as you can see your planner, what we are doing here is you do the topic of ethics and money laundering. You cover it from the recording from tomorrow onwards till 22nd March. Then I meet you on 22nd March at 8 p.m. Indian time, live in the class. We do questions related to that topic. I take your doubts related to that topic. Then you cover the remaining areas. In the next week, then we meet again. This is how the things would work. So if you check out the portal, like what the portal consists of, I have given you the questions as per the portal only. I've given you the timetable as per the portal only. Now you might wonder that, ma'am, when I'm doing the topics, am I practicing also? Yes. In these recordings, there are practice questions as well. You can see the practice class, ethics and money laundering. There are 2 practice classes here. And the notes are given to you once you enroll. You'll be added into the WhatsApp group and the notes will be given to you, right? So notes is not an issue. Class notes are attached here as well on the portal. So you are going to do the recordings simultaneously. There will be questions recorded in this unit only. Plus on the live class, we are going to meet with the question practice, right? And then finally, once the syllabus is completed, we will start with kit question debrief section. Now, these are the kit questions which are from past papers, not necessarily from your exam kit. What I follow is my own notes plus the past papers. So I can pick up questions from BPP exam kit. It can be from Kaplan exam kit. So these questions are generally from various sources. So when you're doing these questions, I will share, once you enroll, I'll share some resources on the WhatsApp group from where these questions are. Okay, so these questions you will cover. These are from past papers which are relevant. Old questions are also there because AAA syllabus has not changed. So you can see there are so many old questions as well. Okay, and then we are going to have super 20 questions, just like we used to have in SBR, but that would be in the month of May. So in the month of May, you will get Ultimate Planner. That is going to be your daily practice schedule, in which you will also have super 20 questions. This is how the course would work, right? So if you are someone who's planning to enroll, you can definitely visit the website, okay, tgprofs.com, and you will see the AAA course here, and you will also see the coupon code for 10% discount. And yeah, that's how the things would work. Okay, so this is, let me show you. Yeah, so this is how it would look like. And you can just apply the 10% discount and you can buy the course, and it has one free extension. So if you inform to me by 15th of April that, ma'am, I don't want to give this paper in June, I want to give it in September, no problem. You can extend the course freely. Because I do understand by the time you get your result of the March attempt, you might have favorable or unfavorable result, and your decision to give the paper can change. So yes, you can extend, but it is only once that you can apply for extension. Secondly, the deadline for extension is 15th of April, 2026. right? This is how the things would work. By 19th of April, we'll be done with the syllabus. Okay. So now I am done with what I wanted to share. Now I am that you might have related to AAA. So please go on with your queries. Let's have a chit chat. So I already have few doubts on the chat box. The main issue is passing percentage. So wait, that's what I told you. Passing percentage is mostly dependent on the fact that how many people are able to crack the code. The code is time management, practice, and managing overwhelming information, right? And using professional words. So, of course, once you learn the syllabus, understand the syllabus, you'll start automatically using the professional words. That's not even the main issue. The main issue is time management, right? What book we have to follow. So, Sandhya, in my course, we follow my notes plus BPP exam kit and Kaplan exam kit, both. That's what we follow. Are the live sessions recorded and made live? Yes, yes, yes. You will have the recordings of every live class. So even if you miss the live class, you'll have the recording. Articulation skills. Yes, Krishiv, they are very important. And that's what we call as presentation or, using the right words and saying more in less number of words. So yes, that's very important. Is it possible to pass AAA if I start now since I'm working? How many hours a day do I need to give? See, if you have already done SBR or you have studied SBR once, you can go for AAA. You should go for AAA. It's the right choice right after SBR or along with SBR. And I would say you should give around 3 hours starting now. You should give 3 hours and get done with the syllabus ASAP so that you have more time for practice. So you will see that my SBR syllabus, I'm completing it by first week of May. But your syllabus, I'm completing it early because your syllabus is not hefty. Your syllabus is not a problem. The problem is practice. So that's why your syllabus is getting completed earlier and then you are starting with the practice. Okay. Does the course also include SBR knowledge? Yes, I forgot to mention that. So, Ishan, as you clearly said that, as I also clearly said that SBR and AAA are hyperlinked. And why I feel that I'm good with teaching AAA is because I know IFRS. So, I relate IFRS with AAA. So, for example, first I teach you an IFRS, IS 38 for say. And then I basically tell you how various accounting treatments of IS 38 can create various audit risks. So within one class, I've covered main IFRSs, their audit risks, and their audit evidence and procedures. So it's like a holistic session where we pick up the IFRS, we talk about its risk, we talk about its evidence and procedures. So yes, in the course, you'll find IFRS knowledge as well. Not up to the extent of SBR, but just like a crisp revision of that particular standard. Right? Okay. Ma'am, I passed SBR from your lectures, now planning to enroll. I also have work full time. Will I be able to? This will be my first attempt. How hard is AAA? So as I said, AAA is very easy if it is done in the right way, if you understand the strategy, and the strategy is practice. And this time I'm going to focus a lot on your assignments and mocks. And I'm planning to give you 2 mocks this time. Generally, I give 1 mock for AAA, but this time you'll get 2 mocks, marked mocks, because AAA is becoming harder due to practice. Okay. And that's why we need to focus more on that. So our focus is on practice through assignments, through Super 20 questions, through Kit Question Debrief section of your portal, through your 2 mocks that would be conducted. So 6+ assignments and 2 mocks. It's on you if you give them. I am conducting that. The ball is in your court. Do you sit for those assignments and mocks or not? Right? Okay. When When do I write the mock exam? In the month of May, like around 20th of May. Ma'am, scared about the result, but don't wish to waste time. Okay. So that's very relevant question. If you are scared to whether you'll pass or not, that's a very relevant risk as of now. But what I'll say is that even if you don't pass the paper that you're sitting for March, if you start AAA well in time, okay, let's assume the worst. I don't think that would happen, but still, even if it happens, so if you start AAA right now, you will be in a situation where you can give both the paper that you flunked and AAA together in June. But if you keep on waiting for the results, and if they come out unfavorable, then you will just sit or resit for the paper that you flunked. So you will double your loss. So if you want to, in a situation you want to hedge yourself, I would say cover your loss by giving two papers in June. So that can only happen if you start with AAA right now. Think about it, right? So that's very important. Shravani, if I hope that's answered. Ma'am, do you specifically only evaluate the mocks? Basically, I'm not enrolled, but I want my mocks to be evaluated. Bhumi, I don't provide that service as of now, the test series service that you are asking for, because my course comes full. So it's like a full course. In the month of May, however, if you just want to access the mocks and the Super 20 question and the kit question debrief section, then a crash course comes, but that is in the month of May, not right now. Is only one mock marked? No, Sandhya. From this attempt, previous attempts, only one mock was marked. But from this attempt, you'll get two mocks, which will be marked for AAA as well. I've given SBR in June and SBL in September. After that, I got occupied with job. Do I need to polish these again? So Ubed, I will help you polish your SBR concepts. That's what your agenda will be. There will be a number of resources that you will have. So when you will sit for AAA, you will not only attend my grand revision of AAA, but you'll also attend grand revision of SBR. And in my lectures, recorded classes of AAA, you will find IFRS explanation along with audit risk explanation. Okay. What will be the duration of weekend live classes? So, Kamlesh, the duration varies. For example, in ethics and money laundering, the questions are limited. So, the duration is generally 1.5 hours and based on your doubt. So if someday you have more doubts, the session would be longer. Then, for example, we're doing a 50 marker. Sometimes this session stretches to 3 hours also. So when I'm doing a 50 marker, because the case study is so overwhelming, so there are like two sessions where we do 50 marker questions. One is for audit risk, second is for group audit. So again, two sessions which are 3 hours. Review and reporting, generally we wind up within 2 hours. So yes, it varies, okay, from unit to unit and situation to situation, how many doubts you have basically. Do you think it is helpful to watch the March ACCA mock debrief classes or videos? Not right now about, we'll watch it for June only. Sandhya, don't think you'll fail in SBR, okay? That would be too negative thinking. I've seen a lot of people who feel that we'll flunk, and they end up passing. Wait for the results. Don't think about it now. Just let it go. Just think about AAA right now. Why are you manifesting this? Why are you like asking that how to manage two exams? Don't manifest it. Just think you're giving one exam. Right now, your paper is already in the process of checking. So send good vibes. Okay. I'm sure you'll pass. Don't think negative. If we will not, then we'll talk about it on the day of result. Not right now. Right now, your focus is to complete the syllabus by 19th of April of AAA, and you are giving just one paper in June, that is AAA, and you're passing SPR. Keep that mindset. And you will not believe me right now, but I've seen like thousands of people who think they'll fail SPR and they end up passing. Okay, so don't worry. Will there be any help for self-study students? Yes, a lot of resources will come up. you will have your ultimate planner, your what do I say, grand revision. Not for mock. No, mock is in part of the course. Okay. So that's it, guys. I hope I've covered most of the questions which you guys had from AAA. And if you would have any query, you can reach out to me. You can just visit tgprofs.com, and there you will actually find my the course. And still, if you have any query and if you want to be part of free WhatsApp group, okay, and if you want to be part of Telegram community, which is going to have IFRS related MCQs weekly, where I would share my insights and free resources, WhatsApp and Telegram, you can just WhatsApp on this number, okay, and automatically you'll get a link to the free WhatsApp groups. If you're already enrolled or planning to enroll, you will be added into the premium WhatsApp group where the batch is going on and we discuss about classes and resources. Then you don't need free resources because you have the access to the portal which has everything. So that's it for the day, guys. I hope it was a helpful session. May God bless with this with all the good vibes, and let's hope this is the first and the last attempt for AAA, and all the very best. Okay, so all the very best, and let's hope for the best. See you all in the upcoming live class on Sunday at 8 p.m. Indian time. Okay, yeah. What is asking students open their mic and speak. So what in AAA we have like a closed number of students. So when you will also be part of my live class, you'll be also able to open your mic and speak. So in SBR, you must have seen there are like hundreds of students in the live classes. So there I can't, trust people opening their mic and speaking. So they raise their hands and they ask the queries in the chat box. But in AAA, you would be also able to speak in the class because we have very like 20, 30, 40 people in the class. So that is a very closed group and we can just talk one on one, right? So, yes, that's it. Goodbye. Good night. Take care.